All right, folks, let's jam this up. All right, jamming a little Machine Head, jamming out to Davidian. Anyway, I just got done reading a question, and it pretty much asked me why do I make birthday video shout outs and that I have no life and have a lot of time on my hands. And like I said, to answer that question, I do that for the enjoyment and amusement of others so that they may have a smile on their face for that day. And instead of using free time for myself, I channel it elsewhere. But yeah, like I said, if you don't like my birthday video shout outs or anything like that, then you simply don't have to watch. All right? All right, man. Let's talk a little fishing, man. Bass Grabber Tournament Trail is right around the corner. February 28th, we're going to kick off at downtown Fort Worth. And if you want to jump on this tournament or this tournament trail, go to www.bassgrabberstrail.com and you can sign up and get your bass grabbed. All right. So it's a lot of fun. Great group of guys. I've learned a lot. And last year, I was very close to getting Angler of the Year, but that pesky Paul Quarter, he's a tough guy to beat, knows his stuff, and looking forward to going up against old Polly again this year. And I can't count out guys like Nathan Montgomery, Chris Perez, Steve Perez, Sean Frederick, Jody Brown, Micah Middleton, Joe Rodriguez. I mean, there's a lot of big sticks that you can't really count out, but man, I'm in love with bass fishing. I tell you what, um, let me tell you the story how I got into bass fishing. All my life, I've fished. I did more catfishing and crappie fishing than anything. But my brother Tony took me to a place called Vanz's Camp, which is a spillway at Eagle Mountain Lake. And he was telling me about all these fish. He was calling them bass that he was catching. And I didn't believe him. And then he showed me this picture of the stringer he had. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I went out there and I had my ugly stick with my braid line, my catfish setup. And he's like, man, what is that? So, I was trying to catch me some bass. Turns out they were sand bass or white bass, as some may call it. But down in Tejas, we call them sand bass. And I get a hit, and I set the hook, and I catch my first sand bass. So stoked. So we leave that day. I only caught one, and I go to Academy, and I start buying some bass stuff, for bass fishing. And I was working at a church at the time, and there was this pond right behind the church I was working at, and I started to throw this deal called a rooster tail. And I caught my first bass, which probably no more than, I'd say that big, 8, 9 inches tops. And from that point, I was hooked. And I started fishing that pond and fishing that pond, and I started to think, man, this is something that I really, really, really like. So, out of all the madness and scientific um, experiments that went on in my head, I created the Bass Grabbers Tournament Trail, and it has done amazing things for a lot of people, and it's kept me out of a lot of trouble for sure. But I mean, it's given people something to do on the weekends, especially with your kids or whatever. And if you want to compete in a actual tournament and not have to pay money out the butt to do so, and you don't have a boat, this is where to be, people. So, hey, Bass Grabber Tournament Trail, Bass Grabbers, www.bassgrabberstrails, bassgrabberstrail.com. So, yeah, bass fishing is mucho fun. So, we will be right back. We're going to talk a little music, talk a little bit about my musical career and where it is headed. All right, so this is the Russ Prater Show, and we will be right back.